You're listening to Let's Talk with Jason B., coming from the greatest city on earth, Flint, Michigan. Broadcasting from the studios of FlintTalkRadio.com. And now, your host, Jason B.
Hey everyone! How's everybody doing? I hope everyone had a great New Year and a wonderful Christmas. We have a clip from Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, so sit back and let's take a look.
I'm Joe Cross. Take a good, hard look at my gut. Years ago, I was overweight, over-medicated, and out of luck. Until I finally said, enough is enough. So I decided to go on a road trip and drink juice and nothing else for 60 days. I shared my story about the incredible benefits of juicing. What do you think?
That's okay.
It's not bad, is it?
No.
And made a movie that has changed people's lives. What if I told you that I've only been juicing for 39 days?
Actually, you're crazy as hell.
I reckon that you can get your body back into shape so that you can cure yourself.
The real surprise of the movie,
Hey, mate, my name's Joe.
is Phil.
You're at risk of sudden death because your weight.
This is life or death for you right now. Now, this stuff will save your life.
His story has inspired millions.
Seen the documentary I'm a Believer.
I had such a poor diet and I had such poor health.
I'm not gonna get emotional.
I have hope again. It's invigorating.
Went on in 5 days and I've already lost 15 pounds. Down 30 pounds.
A 60-pound weight loss.
Down 91 pounds. I'm under 300.
He really inspired me to throw that prescription bottle away.
Eventually, we'll have you off of all of them.
I mean, it's nothing short of a miracle.
I knew I had to do something. I was 310 pounds. I had really bad arthritis, sleep apnea. All that is gone. I watched the movie. I bought a juicer. I feel 1,000 times better. I have energy all day long. I feel like Superman.
Joe has had a profound effect on my life. I've lost 99.2 pounds. I could not walk without pain. Now I can run an hour nonstop from juicing. And I know that this is a part of my life forever now.
This was me 4 months ago. Everywhere I go, I had to sit down. I was tired from everything I did. One day I watched Joe's movie and I said, okay, he can do it, I can do it.
Because of these success stories, a movement has begun. Join us and experience it for yourself.
This is something you can do on your own. Go down your local market, get some fruit and vegetables, and give it a go. You got nothing to lose.
Just try it for 2 weeks, a week, and you'll see the amazing changes that it can do for your body.
Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead.
I'm so grateful, like I could cry. That's how grateful I am and how good I feel.
Watch the movie at fatsickandnearlydead.com.
Wow, that was inspirational. I was really taken aback by that trailer in itself. And when I saw that, I was like, I have to. There is no way. I have to have somebody that's done this program. And I actually have two people here with me from Flint, Michigan, local people, Renee and Gaetano. How do you say your last name? Bufa? Bufa. And they were actually in the program, and I just wanted to bring you guys, because I know January is here upon us right now, and so many Americans are doing resolutions, New Year's resolutions, and they say the biggest one is I'm going to lose some weight, and I think that it's important to get a different viewpoint of how to do that. So many people think, well, I'll just exercise, I'll just this and that. And I personally, I don't know about you guys, but I know for me, there's a lot of times I don't have time to exercise, or there's some people that are too sick or too disabled to exercise, but they still want to lose weight. And I think after seeing this trailer, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, that it has definitely moved me to want to take a proactive approach. And Gaetano, I'm wondering, now you did this program, how long ago was it?
Well, we kind of we'll go back a little bit here.
Please.
I'm not going to go back the whole 20 years, but I just want to mention
Wow.
that for approximately 20 years, I've been at least overweight, if not obese. And February of 2013, my employer said that you have to have a physical, which is a good thing. They want healthy employees.
Well, of course, yeah.
And I knew I'd been maybe having a little extra weight kind of creeping in, and it wasn't because of the holidays. It's just poor eating habits and the fact that sleep sometimes is a luxury. Therefore, exercise is what if it's not part of my daily, like what I'm normally doing, living and providing for my family. It's hard to add anything in. So pretty much. I've been praying for a long time, really, can I get rid of this burden? Can I be free of what I feel trapped inside of? Again, like I said, I want to go back before we get to the point of the tipping point of me seeing this film. And I realized after a while, when I didn't feel that I was getting a sufficient answer to those prayers, that I needed to change from can I to will I. And it's very important to talk about that, because can I the answer is probably yes. We all can do a lot of things.
Absolutely.
Will I do it? And some people would say that, is it will, like, do you have the will to do it? No. I mean, will I actually find something I can connect with long-term results?
Yeah.
I kind of had shifted that, and that was starting, near the end of 2012, which is really interesting, the timing of all this.
How so? Like,
well, because really at the end of 2012, near the last quarter, I actually began to notice my weight.
Okay.
What I mean by that is, when you look in the mirror, and I know Renee can attest to this as well, we oftentimes, as a man, now she can't attest to the man part obviously, but she can attest as a woman, when she looks, she sees the weight, but a man looks and he usually doesn't see the weight. He usually sees himself trim and fit as he was when he was 16 or 18,
Oh, yeah.
But I started to notice more than the fact that my belly entered the room before me.
Oh.
I really just started to notice when I looked in the mirror, what was this like alien attached to my body? And I started to notice more things like climbing into my mid-sized car and having my cell phone break off of my belt and go flying because I couldn't fit in my car.
Oh, wow.
I had done some things, folded some laundry in the living room, and I went to get up and I put my hands on the basket, and the basket snapped underneath me and it cut me. I was turning in the shower and I went to grab onto the shower door just to kind of hold it for a second and broke the arm off the shower door.
Goodness. Wow.
I would have buttons shatter on my pants at work. I'm not talking about crack and break, like shatter, and I had to ask coworkers for safety pins. These things started to happen in more frequency. I dealt with some peer pressure. And, if there's any listener out there right now who carries extra weight,
listen to this, guys.
You don't have to listen to that.
That's right. That's right. Too many people, they eat when they feel pressured or bullied or just any kind of negative feelings. Too many people go to the food as their comfort, And and I'm sure you can attest to this, if you're going to go to food, go to the healthy stuff. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. But I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
And some of this peer pressure, and these were good-meaning people. These are not. There was one person who was a little malicious that I'm not going to mention on air because
darn.
I want to be respectful to this person, because when I went to them and said, "Hey, I know you're well-meaning, but your comments are really hurting. I'm very aware of my weight," this person did stop. The fact that they said some very derogatory things directly to me that they thought were being helpful, I'm going to do the honorable thing and not necessarily share that. But there were people around me that started to get great success with some of the popular exercise programs. And they were just sharing, like, they weren't out trying to recruit. They were just sharing their results. Yeah. But I couldn't connect with that. I couldn't, because there was a time commitment of, an hour plus a day to jump around your living room. And an hour plus a day sleep's a luxury many times.
Yeah.
So I kind of felt that peer pressure. Oh, the prejudice. Now this one I have to bring up to you. We were at a local shopping club. Again, I won't say the name of the club.
Okay.
And they have samples.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I ain't gonna say. I ain't gonna say.
Let's keep it above. Let's keep it above.
Okay, proceed.
And
Man.
this is again nearing the end of 2012, and Renee was over. She was going to get some. What was it? The Nutty Buddy, whatever. It's the stuff, the reindeer food. I don't know what it is. It's like Chex Mix with cocoa and.
It's They call you can make it. And it's called puppy chow.
Oh, okay.
So she was in line for that. Well, I went over in line for the hickory smoked bacon.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh goodness, maple, Canadian maple, and these were thick sliced. And you know, everybody loves bacon, and I'm sure you've heard the joke. Okay, would you like my leftover bacon? Said no one ever. So that's
the first time I've never heard that before.
That's right.
Wow.
So I was standing in line for the
no one
bacon,
ever.
and I went over to see how Renee was doing. And they asked me if I wanted some of that puppy chow or whatever they call the Chex Mix or whatever it is there they had as a sample. And I said no. I was standing in line for the bacon, and I shared that joke, expecting like you to laugh. That's funny. I've never heard it. And this gentleman says, "Oh yeah, I bet there's no leftover donuts when you're around either."
And this was an employee.
Ouch!
Wow. And then he's like, "Ha ha!" And I you know, and I just walked away from it. I didn't know what to say. You know? I just. And I don't.
Now, how much were you? How much did you weigh at that time?
I don't know because it's not. Trust me. Once you reach a certain point, you measure yourself when you go to the doctor. You measure yourself when you're in certain situations. So these kind of things started happening. So becoming conscious of my weight became more prevalent. We went to go on a marriage retreat with our church. And before we left, I realized that I didn't have enough pants, jeans, because I wanted to wear jeans for the weekend, and I had to go buy some. And I went to the great store where I used to buy clothes all the time, which I don't have to anymore. And very expensive pants and very expensive shirt, and you can see them in my before picture. But it was the first time I had to get pants that had the elastic in the waistband where you could see it.
Oh wow.
And I had to buy a special belt that was thicker to kind of cover it up. And I bought a shirt, and it wasn't a new size for me, but I was on the ragged edge of moving into the next one.
Oh boy! And
so 48 waist, and I was pushing the edge of 50.
Wow, okay? Boy!
And so we bought those, and then we went on our trip, and I wore them because they were great clothes, and I'm telling you, I mean, those jeans were probably worth the money I paid. They were nice and thick, and you know, I didn't begrudgingly buy them other than the size. So all these things are swirling in my head, and that was February 7th or 8th, whenever that picture was taken, 2013. So I'm conscious of that. Well, my employer said I had to go in for a physical.
Oh boy!
So I'm going in for the physical. I already know about the clothes, I already know these things. So I'm going to make some changes. All right, I'm going to eat more fish for the couple weeks leading up to the physical, and I'm going to eat a little less of this and a little more of that. And I did some shifting, so I thought, yeah, and I really honestly believed I'm going to come in 5 pounds lighter than I was the last time I had measurements, and yay. And I came in 15 pounds heavier.
Oh no! Oh wow!
So as you can imagine,
terrible.
My physical.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, you know, it's hard when you think you're going to do something and you realize you haven't.
I know, and you not only you haven't, but you go in reverse, and you're like,
goodness. Oh, it's the wrong direction. This is counterproductive.
That's depressing. Yeah.
And you know, and so the bulk and the remainder of my physical was not about my high triglycerides, although they were high. Mm-hmm. It was not about being pre-diabetic or at risk or high at risk or any of those numbers. Mm-hmm. It was not about my hypertension, which I was on medication. And on medication, the best I could get was 130/90. Maybe a little lower if I really chilled before they put the... And they always have to put the big cuff on me even now, but they had to put the even bigger cuff on.
I'm 130/90 now, too. And I'm not on medication. But
Well,
I probably should be. Hey,
well,
hello.
We're going to tell you a good story about how I no longer have to take that medication.
No way.
So, the bulk of that visit was about my size. Mm-hmm. And of course, he made suggestions about, can you use the stairs more at work? Well, absolutely, if I don't have to get to my desk right away. I mean, sometimes it's a timing concern to not use stairs. I'll tell you now, I'll run up and down them all day long. I love it. Because I can do it quickly.
Yeah.
I used to go down the stairs, and I'm sure you have listeners that are going to hear this and they're going to relate to this. Step, next step, step, next step, where you take one foot and then that second foot goes to the same step before you go to the next one.
Yep.
I can now go down the stairs foot over foot over foot. And it was the weirdest thing when I transitioned to that, because I did it naturally and then all of a sudden realized I was doing it.
Wow.
Okay,
That's
back to the doctor. We got to kind of, let's stay. So I said, here, exercise out. I'm not anti-exercise. God love me, I'm not anti-exercise. It's a timing concern for me.
I'm sure a lot of people feel the
concern.
same way too. A lot of people do.
So I did what most Americans do, and I said to the doctor directly, what pill do you have?
Oh.
I mean, come on. Now, I was only on hypertension medication. It's not like I had a fistful. Just one. Just one. Never mind one. So I said, what's another one? Well, he went out, and I could hear him clackety-clacking on his laptop out in the hallway. And he came back in, he says, I have bad news for you.
Uh-oh.
I said, what's the bad news? He said, well, the bad news is, with your hypertension, there's no pill I can put you on. And the fact you don't drink caffeine, I can't put you on the other pills.
Oh, that's terrible.
So he just paused. I'm an engineer. I like to mitigate risk. I assessed the situation and said, exercise, out. Medication, out. Dietary, no, hear me on the dietary part. What I thought I was kind of dietaring, eat this fish and do this other thing and maybe eat this much of something or try to eat smaller portions or don't eat after 8. They're all great things. But it wasn't enough to tip me over the edge. So I'm thinking, listening, what's the other option that most people go for next?
Starvation.
Starvation, yeah, of course. Then you become bloated. Out of my mouth, not my doctor's mouth, I said, should I be considering surgery?
Okay.
And he looked at me with all sincerity and he says, I'm not saying you should or you shouldn't. And he used some of his own words, but the context was, but that could be an option for you. There's like 4 or 5 different factors, and if you have these, which I have, sleep apnea, I was hypertension and I was obese. I think if one more tripped up on my blood exam, he said, there shouldn't be a medical insurance out there that wouldn't support that.
Oh.
Because you have enough of the factors that they would rather you have the surgery because that'll help you not become diabetic.
But that is to say, your surgery, you still have those, I mean, it gets rid of the weight. It doesn't get rid of your issues. It doesn't
get rid of your habitudes,
Yep.
your habits and your attitudes.
Absolutely. And that's...
And there's a psychological aspect to it as well. So my doctor, wise as he is, looked at me, knowing I'm an engineer, and said, go do your research. Go look at the different procedures.
Very wise.
He said, I don't believe we're looking at, he mentioned one of them that's pretty extreme, and there was another one. Again, I'm not going to mention the surgeries on air because those are irrelevant.
Not the point.
It's irrelevant.
Yeah, that's not the point.
And so this was a Tuesday morning. Well, every spare moment at lunch that day, all that evening, I'm just poring over these surgeries. I'm scoping Facebook for friends I know who've had surgeries, and what surgery did they have, and what surgery did this person have, and what were their results, and how did they feel, and looking at maybe their diaries of some people have been very vocal about it. You know, I had to go to this psychological thing, and I'm only eating out of a thimble now, and some of the different things that they went through, and I'm looking at them, and I'm telling you, they're part of my story. They're as dear to my heart as the people who've encouraged us, because I looked at their lives and the fruit that was produced by them doing surgery and contemplated it for myself. Tuesday morning, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, Wednesday lunchtime. I mean, I'm just constantly, I'm on my phone while I'm commuting. I ride in a commuter van. I don't want you to think I'm driving. So, and I'm looking at these surgeries and I'm seeing pictures. And there was one surgery I was interested in, but they only do it in Mexico, and the Cleveland Clinic does it.
So,
and
so
blah, blah,
what
blah.
did you now? What instead of surgery? How did you come about? What was your process of losing the weight? Let's get to that.
We're right at that point, Jason.
Let's do
I
it.
love that you're moving me along.
Jump
I'm
into it.
right there. Wednesday night, 36 hours later, I had a little lull in the schedule for some reason. And I asked Renee, I said, tonight, instead of watching maybe a couple on-demand TV shows or instead of watching that and watching a movie, why don't we watch this movie that for some unknown reason, I know what that reason is now, but some unknown reason Netflix keeps promoting this to me. It's a movie called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. It's the movie you watched the trailer for just a few moments ago. I'd never even seen the trailer. All I saw was the cover of a man standing on top of a juicer, and I'm going to give you my visual impression of it at the time, that somehow he went through and it juiced him or something, and he was coming out the other side skinny. I mean, I understand the concept, and it said these two guys, and I really went into it thinking it was going to be some sort of, propaganda for a particular eating style. So I wasn't really open to it, but it was an option. And Renee, oh dear Lord, I'm going to let her share this with you. I talked about surgery, and all of a sudden, my wife became completely irrational. I'm thinking to myself, and I didn't say this to her because it would have been, but I kind of did. I'm like, I'm the one looking at surgery. Why are you freaking out so much? So based on what she's about to tell you, her answer to me when I asked her if she wanted to watch this film was, yes.
Yeah, let's do it. So Renee, he mentioned it. Tell me exactly. He's contemplating surgery. What's going through your mind at that moment? I mean, was this the first you heard about it, or throughout the week you knew he was thinking about it, and finally it reached a certain point?
I knew he was researching it, and there was I had this fear, complete panic. I was terrified, and all I wanted was for him to find another option. And not realizing this until later, just a few months prior to him dropping this bomb on me that he was thinking about surgery, my father passed away. He had 4 massive heart attacks right in a row.
Wow.
In the course of an hour. And the thought of losing another man in my life, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's unbearable, I'm sure.
And sorry.
Take your time, it's okay.
And the thought of me losing my husband was unbearable. And I guess I did kind of flip out a little bit and get a little demanding over, no, I don't think so. We need to find something else because I'm not going to let that happen. And he would explain to me, well, other people have succeeded. It's like, but you could be the one person that doesn't.
There's always that chance, yeah.
And I didn't want to take that chance with the man I love.
So
dropping down on the TV,
yeah.
Boom, we hit on Netflix, and lo and behold, we get introduced to someone I'd like to give a great shout out to, Joe Cross. The Australian who's traveling the world right now, making a difference.
The guy in the
at the very beginning of
trailer.
The very beginning of the trailer.
Man,
and there's something about the way Joe talks that he's a good communicator.
He's Australian, that's why.
And so that's why.
It's the accent.
Hey, that Mike. Yeah.
And somehow listening to Joe, things started to penetrate a little. I was really picking the movie apart when we first started watching it because I was looking for that propaganda aspect.
Oh yeah.
I was looking for that propaganda, but I didn't find it. I just want to let you know I didn't find that. So what happened is in the first part of the film, is Joe has some specialists come in. Like I give a shout out to Stacey Kennedy because she had some great stuff in the film, and we've read a lot of great stuff from her on their website, which and definitely give you, rebootwithjoe.com, which is somewhere we were led when we were researching this. They kind of got through to me in the first part of the film, and then we meet Phil.
Who's Phil?
Well, Phil, and I'm going to let you get that from the movie. I don't want to necessarily divulge too much of that, but Phil is the gentleman in the second half of the film that has an incredible transformation. See, Joe penetrated and got me thinking, and the end of the film with Phil brought it home to where maybe I could be the one to do this too. But this isn't something we ran into with absolute reckless abandon.
Yeah.
Okay?
But you're an engineer. You just don't jump into
Well,
things.
you can't. You can't. You
Think
can't.
about it.
So the film gets over, and I just got to tell you this: based on what we saw, just before the full credits, it comes back to full screen, and what Phil is doing in that last scene, Hollywood could not write a better ending to a film.
Wow.
Based on the movie. Based on the movie prior to that, the documentary prior to that, and seeing his transformation, what he's actually doing at that moment, I cried for him.
Wow.
I was like the human spirit triumphing over adversity. Inside, I wanted to jump up out of my seat. Yeah, go for it. But yet I sat there quiet in absolute awe. And as the credits rolled, Renee and I, sitting in our seats, turned and looked at each other and didn't say a word. We were shocked. Yeah. We were stunned. We could not believe the transformation that we had seen between Joe and Phil in this film.
You make me want to watch that movie. I tell you, I don't know about you guys, but it's called
Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead.
Okay.
I mean, it's a pretty blunt title,
Yeah,
but it's
pretty brutal. But
pretty brutal. But the thing is, we didn't even talk about it that night. We just went to bed. I mean, we could not emotionally digest that 36 hours after talking to the doctor about fat.
Digest. You made it funny.
36 hours after talking to my doctor about weight control surgery, we see a film like this.
Yeah.
Just blew my mind. Well, okay, we might do it, we might not do it, we might do it, we might not do it. So here's the thing. I'm looking for the catch still. I'm looking for the catch. And I go to fatsickandnearlydead.com and I go, they're going to sell me a juicer and it's going to be $1,000.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's going to be $1,000. They don't make a $1,000 juicer that I know of, by the way, now that I've looked. But I'm like, it's going to be $1,000. And I go, here you go, buy a Breville juicer, Breville JE98XL, as seen in the film Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. And it goes to Amazon.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Did I click the right link?
How much? How much? We all want to know how much.
Generally speaking, the MSRP, manufacturer suggested retail price, at that time, $149.99.
That is a lot less than $1,000.
And you'd pay that for a nice set of pots and pans.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I go back to the website and I click it again. I go back to the website and I click it again. I'm looking for the catch and I go, well, that means that if someone buys the Breville JE98XL or any of the other Brevilles that are out there through fatsickandnearlydead.com, then they get a commission, a percentage. Yeah. But the price of it is the same whether you go directly to Amazon or if you go to one of the local retailers. Well, unfortunate for Amazon, I did not buy it from them, although I highly contemplated that.
You don't get sales tax, though, right?
Well, you do in some states.
Oh.
But here's the situation. Here we go. Perfect situation. I had a gift card, I had credit, and I had a coupon for another retailer. Hey, economic here.
That is the perfect storm.
I don't know if we're going to buy this thing and use it once or twice, or if we're going to really do something with it. So I researched. I found it, and you know what? I realized if I research juicers, it's going to be months before we make a decision. I'm just going to use the one they used in the movie. It looked like it lasted those guys 60 days.
That's it. Now, you touched on this. you did the program for 60 days.
Actually, 92 days.
92 days. Okay. And how did you, I mean, you went to, was there a website you went to that?
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
What's that called?
Reboot, REBOOT, with WITH, Joe, JOE.com. G, Joe Cross. Reboot with Joe. Just remember Joe Cross.
Now, who is Joe Cross?
Joe Cross is the Australian who
In the movie.
He's actually
That's right.
the star and director of Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead.
Gosh, he was fat in that trailer. Man.
Well, if you listen to him, he says he looked like he swallowed a sheep.
Oh, yeah, and I'm sure we can all see that, too. I'm like, yeah, there's the sheep's hoofs there, you know. So, rebootwithjoe.com. And now, how did you come across that website? Was it through the video?
FatSickandNearlyDead.com.
Through the video.
And in fact, right now, as you noticed in the trailer and another commercial you can play later on in the program, you can watch the movie for free at FatSickandNearlyDead.com for a limited time.
Or Netflix.
Or Netflix, or Hulu, or Amazon Instant Video. Or, in fact, you can go to the Reboot with Joe website and buy the DVD, because when you get the DVD, you get all the extended scenes, the cut scenes, and a director's commentary.
Oh, wow.
Isn't it also playing on YouTube?
It was playing on YouTube for a while, but now it plays under subscription only.
Ah, I see.
But there's a lot of ways you can see this film, is what I'm saying. So I got to touch on this point because you'll love this, because I know your humor enough now, Jason, since we got to meet. I mean, we've been talking about doing this for a while. I found it at the local retailer, and I sent Renee a text and said, hey, they got it here, and we got coupons and everything. And her text back to me was very supportive, which is, we're going tonight to get it, right?
Oh.
Now, you got to understand, we have a humorous relationship, and I don't mean any angst by this, but I said, don't push me, woman. Well, as you know, the man's the head of the household.
Hey.
Hold on.
I just pushed. Not that I'm a woman, but yeah.
Man's the head of the household, but the woman's the neck, and she can turn that head any direction she needs to turn it.
That's what I've heard.
We went the next day. And what I mean by that is she had influence. So she went the next day, and we bought this juicer, and it sat in the box for a while, and then all of a sudden I came home one day, and it's out of the box, and she took a picture of it. And then all of a sudden, you know, she's like, I really want to try to make a juice. But honey, we can't return it. I'm not certain, and I'm not sure. And the reason I share this is we didn't run into this with reckless abandon. This isn't like I watched the movie and the next day I bought a juicer and, 60 days later, woo! It took a series of time.
How hard was it to commit to the program?
That is an excellent question for this reason. We did not walk into this and say, hey, would you like to spend the next 90 days consuming nothing but fresh fruits and vegetables in juice form?
That would have been a big fat no.
I don't know. Some people, including me, thought, I don't know if I can do that for the next 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So what we did is we established that we would go for 3 days. And at 3 days, we would make a decision to go 5. And at 5, we would make a decision to go 10. And at 10, we would make a decision to go 30. And at 30, we'd make a decision to go 60. But that's not how it worked.
How did it work?
Well,
hey everyone, that concludes this week's episode. Make sure you tune in next week to hear the stunning transformation of Gaetano and Renee Buffa. And before we go, here is one more clip from Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead.
I was fat and sick. I was impotent before.
I was at a low in my life. I had a hard time looking in the mirror.
At my highest, I weighed 310 pounds.
I struggled with severe acne. I had settled for being a frumpy mother.
And then my brother told me about this film.
Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead.
I was inspired to take my health into my own hands.
I've now run 2 half marathons.
I can have sex now. It's a big deal.
Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead
changed my life.
Watch the film at FatSickandNearlyDead.com.